Hey guys, Rexter here, and in today's video we go over all the monsters in Garten of Banban Chapter 4. From the devious Jester to the glorious Queen, and everything in between. We'll be going over some of the case files found in the game, as well as theorize not only what these characters mean in the current storyline, but also for the future of Garten of Banban. Not to mention, if you stick around long enough, we will be going over a secret character that a lot of people have missed. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and grab some popcorn and a drink, and let's go ahead and dive in. The first character in today's video is Sherriff Toadster. This brown humanoid toad has been teased since Garten of Banban 2, and now we finally get to meet our cover star. We first meet the sheriff after being knocked out by his trapper remote, and after waking up, he begins to interrogate us, asking us about all of our experiences within the Banban kindergarten. You see, the sheriff has been put in place in the kingdom to protect the queen. He's the main and only sheriff within the entire kingdom. And after finding a case update report, we begin to understand why he chose this role. You see, case update number 7 explains that they have taken a new approach with case number 9 to mainly consist of watching Western movies and focus on a heroic sheriff of an old Western town. These movies depict a sheriff capturing criminals to protect the weak. And as most of the other cases have done in the past, he grew enormously in size. However, this was actually looked as a benefit, as the children needed a strong protector to aspire to be one for themselves. However, it looks like things took a turn for the worst, and something completely unexpected ended up happening with Sherriff Toadster. Because when we find case update number 9, it explains that perhaps the amount of time case number 9, aka Sherriff Toadster, schedule was dedicated to watching Western films was actually too excessive. And to make matters worse, he became a part of the Banban's gang, serving as their protector. And unfortunately, he was grown to believe that everyone that is not a part of the Banban gang is actually a criminal, excluding absolutely no one and nothing. He would consider inanimate objects as criminals, humans, and the facility staff and children. And to make things even worse, the last week of testing was completely dedicated to show him how to properly catch, imprison, and interrogate criminals his size or larger. The note goes on to explain that no staff member is actually safe around case number 9, and his methods are simply too violent for a human being to survive. Which is a huge shame, because that means our grinning friend actually is a lot more devious than we could have ever imagined. And that is proven in case update number 12, as it states that case number 9 is able to hold himself back from arresting and imprisoning, often fatally, whoever he deems filthy criminals. However, he chooses not to. And this same update theorizes that he will only take orders from the citizens, aka the Banban gang, and that is proven further when he is in the same room taking orders from case number 6, who I believe is Banban. However, luckily, he was removed from the room before he was told to do something very dangerous. Now, a couple things could be theorized based off these notes. For one, Sherriff Toadster could perhaps have been saved from doing more devious and learning absolutely horrid behavior, and after losing contact with the Banban gang, eventually began to take up a more heroic role when he met the Queen, thus putting him in a better place, mentally and emotionally. And it could also explain how he knew how to catch every single one of the Banban members. And this can be further proven, as when we first come encounter with Jumbo Josh with Banban, there is a table filled with vegetables, which Jumbo Josh really loves. And you would only know that if you watched the flashback that Stinger Flynn showed us, showing that only Jumbo Josh's closest friends knew he really loved vegetables. And it doesn't stop there. He ended up catching multiple characters from the game, including Banbaleena, Opila Bird, obviously Stinger Flynn, and Celine Snail, which I believe proves that he has left that Banban gang mentality behind him, focusing on one purpose and one purpose only: saving the Queen, as he becomes our main partner in Chapter 4, even saving us from the Jester, and offering to fix the elevator to help us get out. So where does that leave Sherriff Toadster for the future of Garten of Banban? And that's where my theory comes in. I believe that the big reason Garten of Banban 6 will be released before Garten of Banban 5 is that Garten of Banban 5 is actually the prequel to Garten of Banban 1, and it will actually show Sherriff Toadster's life before leaving the Banban gang, giving us a true story of his character and the journey it took to get him to the Toad we've come to know and love. And as far as Chapter 6 goes, I believe Sherriff Toadster will be a detrimental part in our survival. But we have to keep an eye on him, as we know that anything is possible with our new friend, Sherriff Toadster. The next character on our list is Queen Bouncelia. She serves as the main queen and ruler of the castle. However, this queen has a dark secret. You see, according to case update number 9, there are actually Javanium-grown bodies living inside of her pouch, and reflexes appear to loosen it. And if let loose, something horrible could happen, as stated by Sherriff Toadster himself when he explains why it's so important to make sure the queen does not laugh. These creatures inside of her are known as the Naughty Ones. And though it is yet to be seen what they can do, we will be getting a glimpse of their horrid actions in Chapter 6, as Chapter 4 ends with the Jester eventually making Queen Bouncelia laugh. However, this is not all that Queen Bouncelia brings to the story. Going to case update report number 8, it states that she actually has a scepter that was taken away from her, that is believed to have magical powers, and that is brought up again towards the end of Chapter 4.
We need to find the Queen's scepter. It's the only thing that can stop this madness.
As Sherriff Toadster says, the only way to fix this is to find the scepter and stop this madness. So my theory for the Queen's future is quite simple. Even though the last time we saw her, a giant purple beam was coming from her pouch, I do believe that she is actually still alive and will either tame the Naughty Ones or help us find her scepter. And there's still the potential that she could actually be the only character that can use the staff itself. And as she might be the only true good-hearted character in the game, I don't think we've seen the end of Queen Bouncelia. The third character that we see in Garten of Banban Chapter 4 is the Jester, also known as Bitter Giggles. This character is actually quite unique, as he looks like a humanoid split into two parts, the left side frowning and the right side with a slight smile, almost as if it foreshadows his true identity. As you see, there's multiple times in the chapter where the Jester seems to be balancing between sanity and insanity, as his goal is very simple. It is to make Queen Bouncelia laugh and unleash the Naughty Ones. We get our first glimpse of the Jester when we get to the train station, as he's peeking around a shadowy corner, and as you approach him, he slowly diverts himself back into the shadows. However, this won't be the last of him, as the next time we see him, we are locked in a room with him and his snake hand, as he tries to trick us, and when we get a little bit closer, begins to chase us down the long yellow hallway. However, luckily Sherriff Toadster saves us at the last second. We also find a note written by a mysterious author that claim they feel they are going insane as they hear giggles getting closer to them, which can only be from one character, the mischievous Jester. Later on in the game, we come across a Bitter Giggles door, and once inside, we find something horrific. It looks like there are other forms of Bitter Giggles encapsulated within the vessels. And eventually we stumble across a collectible note that is written in two different color handwritings, which I believe shows the multiple personalities within the Jester himself. The first part of the note is written in purple and says, "I must practice. Practice makes perfect." And after a couple of poorly written jokes, the last part of the note, which is written in green, says, "They are all terrible. Am I the joke?" Almost depicting the mental and emotional battle that he faces within his own head. And you can't help but have some sympathy for the poor guy. As you look on the whiteboard, it says nothing is funny enough and shows a picture of him crying. And even though he does some horrible things to us, including locking us up in a room, sending a giant kittysaurus after us, and obviously letting out all of the Naughty Ones, I believe that the Jester is just a misunderstood character in the game, who sadly, in my opinion, is just lost and sad. You see, if you go back to one of the secret tapes found in the game, you actually see there was a point in time where him and Sherriff Toadster were kneeling down in front of the Queen, meaning that they were both happy members of the kingdom at one point in time. And I believe that he has just been created to do one thing and one thing only. You see, just as Sherriff Toadster was taught and almost brainwashed to protecting, I think the Jester's main goal in life is just to make people laugh and tell jokes, and that can be proven even further, as when he eventually does come face to face with the queen again, he says something really interesting. He tells her that he has finally come to do what he was made to do and deliver his joke. He then explains that he's always followed every single one of her orders and all he wants to do is make her laugh. And even though some things are more important than laughter, he explains that he just must make her laugh, even if it's just for a little bit. And it shows once again the battle that he has within inside of his own head, where he knows the effects that it could have on the kingdom, but also he wants so badly to just make his queen laugh. And he even apologizes before saying his final joke, and unfortunately, releasing the naughty ones. So as far as what I theorize for the future of the devious Jester, I think this battle inside of his own head will go on for the next couple of chapters. And it's really interesting, as it reminds me a lot of Banban struggles himself. But if you ask me, I think he will eventually end up losing to the dark side of his mental state, and will serve as the main antagonist going forward in the game. However, I do hope at some point in the game he's able to overcome it, maybe even becoming a hero to some sense. As once again, I just believe this is a sad story of a misunderstood monster. So now this brings us to the last and final secret character of Garten of Banban Chapter 4, and this character's name is the Syringon. And though we only see a picture of the character, I believe he will serve an important role going forward in the game. And to find him, you actually need to go to the room where you encounter the Bitter Giggle. You see, very close to that same spot, you will see a locked green keycard door. And in order to unlock this door, you actually need to go back to where Banban and Nabnab fought. Once there, you must interact with the Mr. Kebab Man's back, opening a door with the green card inside of it. And after passing by the ventilation sector, you can use this key card to open up the door. And that is where you'll find the Surgeon's mural, which says, "Be the surgeon to someone's broken heart." And this character looks like a hammerhead worm, except for it has 6 different legs or limbs coming out of it, 4 of which look to have different operation tools on them. And my theory is that this is the character that keeps bringing the other monsters back to health. One thing that is very interesting about this character is that he doesn't show up on the initial billboard or mural with the other characters. So where exactly does he reside? Well, many people have theorized that he will be on level 6, also found in Chapter 6 of Garten of Banban, and I'll leave it up to you whether you believe he will be a good or a bad character going forward. But guys, that about wraps up this video here. If you enjoyed this all monster explanation video, do me a big favor, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel and you haven't already, please make sure you hit that subscribe button to help me get to my goal of 150k subscribers. And if you made it this far in the video, maybe check out the story explained video we did yesterday. But without further ado, thank you again for all the love and support, and I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, peace out!